Welcome to the mid-June tour of my suburban garden, where I do my best to grow as much vegetables as I possibly can in a small space. We are surrounded by neighbours on all sides, and my ambition is to be as self-sufficient as possible. So I will do a short garden tour, and then I will tidy up a bit and show you the end results. Start with the nature area, as I always do. It's really growing on now. I've had some beautiful poppies. We got some oxeye daisies. We got this, some kind of cow parsley. We got some thistles. We got some Christmas tree trunks. We do have a nature pond, but I do fear it has sprung a leak. With the oxeye daisies, we've got pile of logs or sticks, a bug house, and that's my favourite spot in the garden, my swing seat. It's my chamomile. It's coming into flower. It's a little bit worried about it because it's a little bit droopy, and I do believe there's a few aphids on there. We're having loads of trouble with aphids this year. So I'll be looking out for ladybirds during my tour. The fence. Last time I cut the grass, the last few times I've left these oxeye daisies because I do love them. As you can see, we are having huge problems with aphids at the moment. But right now, the best I can say is they're not on the vegetables, they're on the oxeye daisies. So I'll just leave them be for the time being. I've got my apple tree here, which was put in last year. This has also suffered from aphids this year. I think I'm losing the fruit on it. I have got some. I'm going to leave it for this year, see what happens. But I have got some huge tubs of recycle where I plan to put this. This is quite a small patio apple. So I will put that in a big tub, and then I can move it and try different areas of the garden. So I'm coming up to my fruit bed. The blue is very dry in here. We've got the ants in here as well. I need to give that a good water when as I tour. I've got some lovely blueberries coming. They're not ripe yet. And that one's starting to change. I think maybe this week we'll have some blueberries. If I do, I will post a short, so please subscribe if you want to see my blueberry harvest. And next we've got gooseberries. We have very sour fruit, and not many people seem to like them, but they are beginning to give. I will wait until they're really ripe before I harvest them, and then they will taste delicious. And I've just noticed my blackberry bush has fruited. They'll probably only get a handful. That's been in, it's only its second year, but I do think I will get a handful of blackberries. I might be able to have a pudding or something from those. There's a ladybird, which we love. I'm going to leave it on here, make sure the aphids don't spread to my thing. But you look at all those gooseberries. They're lovely. I remember picking them from the garden as a child. It was kind of always like a forgotten fruit. And this is my raspberry cluster. Everything is far too close together. If you've got any tips on what I could do about that, you can see I've got a nice big raspberry on there. The things are really starting to come together. Some more raspberries hanging. My strawberries, there are some strawberries under here. I think one, oh, there's raspberries too. But one has been a bit overtaken by everything else, which is fine. It's an older plant. I got one here, which I think I did from a runner last year, and that is flowering. This is a bit of a wild area. I've just been dumping weeds and stuff here. I've got a bramble going through there that I need to clear out. That's probably not my top priority at the moment. This area is a forest floor. I'm going to do foxgloves would be lovely. I'm going to do some chop and drop in this area here. I had my first harvest of new potatoes a couple of weeks ago. I harvested them a little bit early. I replaced them with 2 new pots of potatoes. Might be the last I plant this year. I've got a few left. I might put them in, see what happens. And then those potatoes, there's 3 more tubs of potatoes here, which are coming on nicely. I'm going to leave them till they really die down this time because I had a lot of tiny potatoes in the first harvest, so I'm leaving them a bit longer now. A bunch of chamomile. It's got a lot of aphids on, so I think I might be able to get my first ever chamomile tea. So subscribe if you want to see a short on that. You got the ants there, and I read that they feed off the excrement of the aphids, so that's probably not a good sign that the ants are climbing up. They're kind of like farming the aphids. So I will might go and get that ladybird, see if it wants a feast. I've had a bit of break. The neighbours are out doing something noisy. We've got some cornflowers. These were really had a bad problem with aphids a month or two ago. You can see a hoverfly there as well, and ladybird larvae. Oh, I think it is kind of working, leaving some to encourage the predators, but it's still, I think we're losing the battle this year. For my chamomile, I'm going to spray that with some soapy water. Spray that with some soapy water because I really want the harvest for the chamomile, and they are not looking happy. Small hoverflies. This area is quite wild. I do like to leave a lot wild. Let's go back next to the vegetable area. In my last video, I planted some rockets and some spinach in this pot. I've been keeping it in the shadier area. It does also need a good water. We were out for the day yesterday, the first sunny day we've had in a week or two. And I've just got a dahlia from the garden centre. It's back to the vegetable plot. The peas are coming on really nicely. They are proper peas, so I'm going to wait for the pea pods to... It's got loads of pea pods and still flowering. I'm waiting for those pea pods to fatten up. I haven't got a huge number. What I will probably do is use them in lunch boxes and salads, and to just enjoy picking them fresh. There's another little fuzzy fly. So the onions, I think, are coming up for harvest now. Some of them are beginning to go over. I'm not sure over there. I think the Jerusalem artichoke have knocked some of those over, but the bulbs are swelling really nicely now. But I'm hoping to get a reasonable onion harvest. And do subscribe if you want to see that harvest. In here, I had a blank spot in the middle. We've got the rocket. That's actually doing better. They were planted after the ones in the pot and are doing a lot better. They're probably being watered better. I got some samphire. I always get samphire when I go up to Norfolk, and it tastes delicious. I am not harvesting this. I'm letting it grow on for a little while. So we got the rocket and the spinach, which was my go-to salad leaves. We have radishes, which are growing nicely. I will thin those out sometime. We got pak choy and swede over there. This was just a blank area that needed something to fill it. Then I have a lettuce. That was a shop-bought plug. But I've got a few of those scattered around the garden. That I think is, I'm pretty sure, is a weed. And that one I'm pretty sure is a weed. We got some carrots, which my son planted. We have had a couple of tiny ones as I thinned them out. You can see the root there is growing nicely. But I'll leave those on as far as I can. And I put some cucumber seedlings in here. I planted these direct quite late. But I'm just thinking when the peas die down, there's going to be a gap here. And cucumbers are something I've grown successfully in the past, and I can preserve them. Made some lovely pickles for burgers, and they work really well. Off this bed was my Jerusalem artichoke, which are a perennial. And this is their second year. And I really need to find a way of holding them all back because they're falling on my dahlia. I want to put my other dahlia in here. And they're falling on the onions. Kind of thinking a wooden frame to just encourage them to grow straight up and then make sure I harvest them well. Harvest a good portion of them come the autumn and winter. So moving on, most of my other compost. Cornflower. And one solitary leek here. Oh, there's the other leek. It is still alive. It's still fighting its way. So I might pull out some of these cornflower to make more space for that leek to grow. In the centre is another thing of lettuce. I think I've lost all my garlic. I've kind of like left them as long as possible. And they're not perking up. So likely going to give up on them. The leeks are doing really well in the middle of the bed. I've got another lettuce there. So once I've pulled all this back, I've got some more things to go in for the second half of the season. So I've got a rose bush under there somewhere as well with a big weed growing in, so I need to get into that area. And this is my asparagus bed. Oh, I planted some runner beans around here, but I do not think they are going to germinate. They may have got too dry, or it may have been the old seeds. But it was worth a try. I'll probably leave them this week with a good water and some sunshine. They might surprise me. But I'd expect the beans to be up within a week, really. We'll come back to this bed. This is my parsnip bed. And then this is my asparagus, which is on the first year. If anyone has any tips on growing asparagus, please do comment, because it feels like a bit of a roller coaster. So I had a few shoots, then a couple died off, and I thought I've lost them, and I still had this really strong one. But now, this one died off, but it's still hanging in there. And then I've got another two. I've got one there, and one over here, which is taller than all the others. This is the first year. They were planted probably in March. But I'm just wondering what is going on. Is this normal growth? Or am I doing something drastically wrong? Are they perfectly healthy? Do they need anything else? I've got a drip pipe running through here. I wonder if they dried out a bit, because I've only got one drip pipe, and I wonder whether it's enough. I'm supposed to take the edge off the watering, but it's 50 centimetres each side, which this bed is only about 50 centimetres wide. But anyway, any tips on the asparagus? Gratefully received. Oh, look at all those flies on there. I don't know what those ones are. They're probably another form of aphid, but the plant's flowering. It's a nasturtium. Obviously, it's flowering. It's quite happy there. I won't do anything with those for now. This was my parsnip bed, which was again sown. It was even before the asparagus. I am admitting defeat now. They have not come up. I've got 3 sweet corns in here, which are doing really well. I've been to the garden centre this morning, just looking like what else can I buy. And I've chosen these sweet corns. They're not as strong and healthy as the ones I planted earlier, but I've got an empty gap in the bed, and you know, they might work, they might not. If we have the really warm summer we've been promised, I think they've got a really good chance of giving me a cob or two. So going to the final bed, final raised bed, we've got the carrots. The second row of carrots are coming up nicely now, with a few weeds. Oh, that could come out. I just drop them on the ground. As my granddad used to tell me, just drop everything on the ground, it will go straight back in. That was before all this fancy permaculture and everything else, so he always had lovely gardens. So I got a row of carrots. This was the first row. I had a big gap in, so I put one of my lettuces in there. I've thrown the second row quite close. And we will harvest baby carrots throughout the year, but we won't harvest more than we want to eat, because if we've got any left at the end of the season, it will just be a bonus. And this volunteer sunflower is doing really well. And my green beans, French beans, not doing anything yet. I need to check the seed pack, see when they're supposed to start flowering. You can see they've got some lovely growth on them. They're looking really healthy. I do have a tomato, a volunteer tomato here. Which I might try and move actually, so give the greens a bit more space. I've got a volunteer tomato there as well. I had a spare tomato I didn't have space for last year, so I just left it in this bed. And it didn't do particularly well, but it all rotted down, and now I've got two self-seeded ones. So just let them grow. And freebies. Then here, these are the beetroots I put in first. I'm just going to scrape some dirt away. They're doing really well. I'm not seeing any bulbs yet, but they're certainly doing very well. And then I was planning ahead, and I put these in quite close because they'll have more space once the first lot are harvested. That's another random leek. And some carrots. That's some self-seeded nasturtium there as well. And I put another row of carrots here. I can see one's there. And I just threw a handful in over here of carrots. See what happens, because I had a gap. And I'm seeing quite a few seedlings. I don't know whether you can see them on the camera. I see quite a lot of seedlings there. And then in the middle, I have another self-seeded nasturtium, which I will probably move. And then I've got a cucumber here that needs tying up about this cane. And another lettuce and a courgette. And I might actually be getting my first courgettes there. Here I have a courgette. I don't think it's getting enough sun. It's not doing fantastically, so I may move this as well. I don't know. What do you guys think? Please let any gardening advice very highly welcome. My rhubarb's doing really well. I read somewhere that you shouldn't harvest it after the summer solstice, which is about a week away. I've definitely got another good harvest on there. I think I will keep harvesting it lightly. It is a nice, healthy, established plant, but I will harvest it a little bit longer. I have lemon balm. These are the first spinach I planted early in the season. We've been eating off this plant. It fills up my son's lunchbox, the side compartment on his lunchbox. I put some spring onions in here. They're still hanging in there. We'll see what happens. You can see the drip feeders working in there. And these are my seeds. I bought these two peppers from the garden centre. I think I'll pop them on and put them in this little cupboard and see if I can get some peppers off those. I haven't had a lot of success with them in the past, but we'll keep trying. I have another batch of these, which I'm looking for space for. And here I have some kale and broccoli seedlings. I'm going to grow those on a little bit, and they will go in when the onions come out. And I will try and make a cage or something around them. So lavender cuttings are working really well. And another cucumber plant. It needs tying up again. Tying up again there. A weedy corner. Tomatoes are doing well. There's flowers on the tomato now. Basil. Mint. Dill is a new plant. It needs a good water. Chives, oregano. I gave up on that little parsley that seems to have survived the winter but not doing anything. I bought a new one. I got some thyme. My sweet peas are finally starting to grow. I've never had a lot of luck with them. This is probably one of the healthier years. This is an old tomato plant. Old strawberry plant, sorry. It's not fruiting at all. It is starting to throw these out. So I'm going to leave it here because I do need more and want more strawberries in my garden. So I'm going to leave it and see if I can grow some new plants from it. I'm just going to pick up. I'm not heavy on weeds, but in this side of the garden, where I'm growing things, I do like to try and keep them under control to give other things a chance to grow. So that's the current state of the garden. Hi, this is a continuation of my garden tour. I started recording on Sunday, it's now Wednesday, I've had a busy few days. We've made some progress. The biggest job I still need to do is sort out those Jerusalem artichokes. But there's been, even in those last few days, there's been a few really exciting developments in the garden. So I'll just spend 2 minutes showing you those. This is my chamomile. It's come into flower, and I can report I've had 4 cups of chamomile tea, so that ambition has been achieved. But what's really exciting is I have had problems with aphids this year, but I saw 4 ladybirds on here a little while ago. And just before I got my camera out, I've lost them now, typically. As you can see, there's one there, one there, there's another one. There are a couple more earlier, they may have flown away, but there are loads of ladybirds are starting to. This is the chop and drop area that I did on Sunday. It's all starting to die back now, which is great. This is the area I really want to be like forest floor inspired, although I might put a hotbed in here next year. But I like the forest floor. There's something so refreshing and so promising about a forest floor and all the leaves and the composting vegetation. Is something I think is quite magical. Pea seedlings have really come on. I need to get those into the ground. And so with these seedlings, the brassica seedlings, are after the onions come out. It's another really hot day today. We're heading into a heat wave. The garden is an ongoing challenge. There's always something to do. There's never a good place to stop. I've pulled up that cornflower. I've sorted out the artichokes. I've done some more planting. Please, if you have watched this far, I really appreciate it, and do subscribe. This is a new channel, and I'd really appreciate your comments, likes, support, and I'll see you next month.